and welcome to the Lenovo Work Reborn podcast, where we explore how technology, AI, and cybersecurity are reshaping the way we work. This segment of our tour, we are back at it again, live in London, interviewing top IT leaders. Each episode, we're going to bring you insights from real leaders and industry experts on how organizations can navigate today's challenges and unlock tomorrow's opportunities. From making sense of complex data, to simplifying IT environments, to delivering real business outcomes, Lenovo is helping businesses of every size reimagine what's possible. Join us as we dive into the future of work. Work Reborn. Let's go. Hello, welcome to the Lenovo Work Reborn podcast. Today we are live in London, and I'm here with my buddy Rik. Rik, hello.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good day.
Good evening.
That's a good one.
Hello.
Hello. Rik, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do. What does your day-to-day look like?
Sure. My name is Rik Ferguson. I'm the Vice President of Security Intelligence at Forescout. This year is like my 31st year in the technology industry,
Wow.
and more than 25 of those have been focused purely on cybersecurity. My background has always been technology focused. I'm not the sales guy. And for the past 20 years, really, that's been in research. So cyber criminal, threat actor, malware, architecture, infrastructure, and working closely with law enforcement to make contributions to the kinds of activities law enforcement can take to actually kind of drive down the risk and do something about the threat landscape.
I mean, that's pretty rad, if you ask me. That's a very diverse background, and it seems like, you're definitely in the know about what's going on when it comes to these topics. And we actually interviewed recently over 600 senior IT leaders and surveyed them just around exactly that: cybersecurity,
Right.
AI, and more. And I think some of the findings from the report were pretty interesting. So you're the right person, I think, for us to talk about a little bit of those findings.
I'm happy to throw in my two
Your
cents
2
worth.
cents into the hat? All right, great. So I found that, when I was reading the report, it seemed like more advanced organizations were actually more likely to report any type of challenges that they had with complex systems rather than the latter kind.
Yep.
So why do you think that is?
I think so some of it is driven by organizational complexity, what you're referencing in the question, and some of it is driven by opportunism of threat actors. So it's a two-sided problem. Organizations are going through a period of convergence, particularly in what I would call complex systems, which for me is not strictly just IT. I think cybersecurity and IT is mature. It's been a function that's been around for a long time, but there are so many areas of the business that actually are not IT and do not rely on IT functionality. And we're going through this period of convergence, bringing things like IoT into the security stack, bringing things like, if you're a hospital, all of your medical technology into the security stack. If you're making stuff, or if you're an airport, then you're using operational technology. You've got, programmable logic controllers, or you've got stuff that moves the luggage around the airport, or whatever it might be. They tend to be historically, architecturally, operating in silos from a
Right.
security perspective, if indeed there's any security. One thing attackers really love is silos. They don't actually care about your silos. They quite like them because it means they get to find their way in through whatever means, and they have a place to hide out, they have a place to establish command and control channels, they have a place to funnel stolen data into or out of the organization, or they have a place to have outsized effects on an industry. We've already seen in recent times the kinds of effects that attacks that affect operational technology can have. Like the most recent one is the stopping of production at Jaguar Land Rover.
Right.
It's not that their OT was hit, but I think there's a lack of confidence in many of those complex organizations that a threat in the IT system can be effectively stopped from spreading into an OT system. So you have no choice but to bring that thing to a halt. And that's not the only example. It's been many, many times. So the great challenge, I think, when it comes to why are these complex systems difficult, is visibility. So we're very good at seeing all the things where we can deploy an agent and we can manage them effectively and we can assess the risk effectively, but we don't see all of the unagentable, unmanageable things. That's going to be some IT stuff. It's going to be your building management system. Like, attackers don't care that it's a building management system. It's on the network. It's fair game. IP cameras, network attached storage, operational technology, MRI scanners. And it's actually being able to understand what is on your network, what is talking to what, how do you think that should look, and what's the delta between that and what it looks like now, and then eventually, how do you enforce control on that? Getting clarity around that is, for practitioners, really difficult right now, and I think that's the reason.
So it sounds like there's more vulnerabilities than before, and just being able to manage and figure out who's doing what is a huge problem.
It's an attack surface problem, right? It's not necessarily that there are more vulnerabilities.
Okay.
But it is, to go back to the original question, a more complex system. So, like you might have, if we talk strictly about vulnerabilities, it's only one aspect, right? But if you have a series of vulnerabilities that are severity level 7, right? Individually, they're probably going to drop down your priority stack in terms of getting them resolved, because you've got a 9.8 or a 10 to take care of, right? Which is like, well, that's much more dangerous. I've got to do something
and a 10
about
is probably like, oh God,
right?
what are we going to do?
Well, that's top of the scale, right?
Yeah.
It's like, we've got to do something. So the 7s will drop down. But what you need to consider is, what if I chain those together? Like, it's not about individual situations or individual vulnerabilities. It's about what's the systemic risk to the business. And that question about vulnerabilities extends out to the infrastructure itself. What's the systemic risk to my business of the fact that I don't understand what's connected to my network right now?
For like maybe a tangible way to break it down, and maybe in simple terms, like how would you empathize with a CISO or a tech leader that's going through this process right now? Like, where should they start? What's the first thing they should do?
CMDB really, like, having an up-to-date, and not only up-to-date, but dynamically updated asset registry. If you don't understand, first and foremost, what you have, then any architecture or security program that you design to come to terms with that is destined to fail, because you're not taking into account all the variables that you need to know. So start with visibility. The rest of it comes after that.
I think that really ties well into what the flip side, right? Let's say there is no visibility and the level 10 situation happens, right? More than half of the respondents in our report said that they feel that the use of AI by cyber criminals is going to increase that cybersecurity risk. And, maybe narrowing in slightly more into the AI component of what we're talking about here, how is your team thinking about this threat?
Yeah, so obviously from my role, we think about it from a research perspective. So we're trying to understand and imagine where that could take a threat actor. And also, we contribute to the product development side of things as well, and say, where should we be? Where should that take us from a solutions perspective? But from a threat actor point of view, I was warning on stage here in London, actually, IP Expo 2017.
Wow.
I was standing on stage saying autonomous cyber weapons are a predictable and will be a real threat. We need to start thinking about them right now. I kind of expanded on it again in 2019. I wrote an article about it 2 years later when I had some time to think. And then after that, the LLM boom happened, AI boom happened, and we're still in the middle of that. What to me is really surprising, first and foremost, about AI is how rapidly we, as even a society, even if we like beyond the bounds of cybersecurity, although the fact that we're doing it in cybersecurity as well blows my mind, is this speed that we've gone from, wow, this AI stuff is really amusing, look at how many mistakes it makes, to let's put it inside everything.
Exactly. Like, what a
we still haven't
shift.
fixed the mistakes.
Yeah.
Right? It's still making mistakes, hallucinations, deliberate misinformation. Systems have biases. We don't fix all of that, and then we say, let's put it in charge of everything. And then we take the next leap into agentic AI and say, you know what, let's give it all our credentials and let it carry out actions for us as well, without fixing these underlying problems. So, we're building a perfect storm when it comes to threat actors taking advantage of that. So from a research perspective, it's definitely an area of active research for us. And it's about, for me, the primary challenge for us as defenders will be to recognize that AI is not constrained by human thought patterns. Like, humans think in a way that evolution has taught us to think over millennia. Right, and for me, the greatest example of that is, imagine what we do with a banana. Right, you want to eat a banana.
Right.
You take it. There's one end of it that looks like a handle, so you grab the handle and you rip it open and you eat the banana.
Right.
Because you think like a human. You see the handle, so you use it like a handle. Monkeys don't do that, because monkeys don't think like humans. Monkeys take the other end of the banana and they pinch it, and actually it's a lot easier. We need to evolve our thinking around how threats will behave in the understanding that they will no longer be human driven. So all of the things that we've learned to anticipate and defend against may well not apply in an area of fully autonomous AI-enabled threats. So the only way that we'll be able to combat that as defenders is by harnessing the power of AI ourselves beyond using it for a LLM interface to talk to a product or a chat bot or making nicer reports. We need to be building autonomous AI-powered defense solutions to counter the threat. But we absolutely have to keep a human in the loop because, like I said at the beginning, we haven't fixed those underlying problems with AI yet, and we're probably a long way out from doing that.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't ignore those, huh?
Yeah.
I think that ties really well into our this whole topic is let's take the positive side of it. If handled properly and innovated well, what do you think the future of work could look like? We talk about bringing new life to the modern workplace. It's work reborn. Like, what do you think that could look like?
We are in this really fortunate position, I think, where COVID gave us a snapshot of potential and possibility. The force of habit has kind of catapulted many firms back into where they were pre-COVID. It's where we're comfortable. It's where we've evolved processes for. Actually, we introduced from a security perspective a whole lot of new risk into businesses during COVID because we had people operating remotely. We had bring your own vulnerable technology into the business. We had to connect a lot of critical national infrastructure to the internet, which wasn't previously connected, so that people could manage it remotely. So I think there was a lot of reaction to that openness and this snap back into, okay, 5 days a week in the office, which is we're seeing more and more frequently. But it did give us a glimpse of possibility that we can work from anywhere, that we can be effective in globally distributed teams. We don't have to sit in the same meeting room. What we need to learn, I think, and this is kind of the future, is we need to understand through thorough research, understand the risks, the new risks that we did introduce with this enforced opening, do what we can to mitigate those risks, and then we need to open up again. We need to be comfortable stepping away from the habits, the work habits that were formed, in the 18th century.
Right.
And begin actually to address the fact that the most effective workforce and productive workforce you can hope for is one that is happy working for you and wants to stay working for you. And you can really use that as a differentiator.
What's your favorite part about what you do?
It's novelty. It's like I said, this career for me started in 1994. When I started and I was in technical support, frontline tech support, like my day, every day was, hi, Rik speaking, how can I help you? And it kind of went on from there.
Yeah.
When I started, the corporate operating environment and the environments of the customers that I was helping, TCP/IP was optional, like it wasn't ubiquitous. There was Novell on the network, there was DEC on the network, there was token ring, there was Ethernet, there was TCP/IP. We had this incredible heterogeneous environment. The amount of development and change that we've seen across the 31 years that I've been working in technology is just incredible. And every time you think, we're just settling down, it's predictable, something else comes up.
Right.
And it's not just from the technology landscape or the defender landscape, but it's the threat actor landscape, the attack landscape. And I get to sit in the middle of all of that.
You get
so
to
I'm
be
never
a tech
bored.
ninja.
Yeah, I'm never bored.
I
love
love
it.
that. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to share your expertise with
Pleasure.
us. It's been a pleasure. If anyone listening is interested in learning more about some of our findings from the report, make sure to check out the Lenovo Work Reborn report. QR code is on the screen somewhere, or if you're listening to the podcast, that's right there. JP, put it up there. So there. And if you're listening to the podcast, make sure you check out the link in the show notes below. And we hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much, Rik.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Lenovo Work Reborn podcast. To learn more about how Lenovo is helping organizations transform with AI, cybersecurity, and smarter IT solutions, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next conversation. And also, we'd love to hear from you. Make sure to leave a comment with any other questions that you would like us to discuss on our next episodes. See you next time.
Lenovo.